Hi, we now begin with Unit 5, the last unit, which is planning the presentation. The first aspect that has to be taken into consideration is brainstorming. The word itself is self-explanatory. Brains being stormed, which means brains being overworked during a meeting together in order to come out with multiple ideas. So therefore, the first thing that we ought to understand about brainstorming is idea generation. Brainstorming is usually done in order to generate ideas, and actually other people's little comments could be a trigger, and the atmosphere becomes such that new ideas begin to come out. Mostly they are very spontaneous. They happen right over there. It is not that you come prepared in order to brainstorm. And it is the first step towards creating a good presentation. They help you to explain the purpose, make sense to the audience, and it supports the goals. So when these three criteria have been fulfilled during your brainstorming, then you know that your brainstorming has been successful. It's a great way of solving problems by coming of new ideas. When new ideas come in together, many problems can be solved. It is very good for helping in team building, where you have shared discussions, and it is also very good for individual ideation. From one brainstorming session, you could have all kinds of ideas coming out, which could be maybe helping you to individually grow or contribute to the group. Now, how is a particular brainstorming effective? One is you have to be prepared. So though initially I told you that you don't come there with complete preparation, like making a presentation, but you definitely come thinking of the idea again and again. So when an idea is thought of again and again, some kind of newness to it definitely evolves. So that is what I mean when I say come prepared. Sharpen your focus. Delineate and eliminate anything that is excess and bring your focus very close to the main topic. Define the topic quickly and early so that everybody else is also able to think up and come out with new ideas. And you make it very clear as a person who is organizing the brainstorming event that this is the kind of outcome that you would want so that your audience is convinced. So therefore, the people will have a track to think on. Appoint a facilitator always who will be able to facilitate, because you see, when it's a group activity, there is a tendency for people to stray away from the main topic. You will be able to bring the fold into the people into a fold if there is a facilitator. Don't take your judgment immediately. Always defer your judgment after the brainstorming session is over and after you have gone through the entire notes that have been taken down. One conversation at a time. Don't take too much because it will be difficult to manage it. And try to be as visual as possible, because you can use PowerPoints, you can do anything else in order to bring about visual clarity, which will allow the brain to think a lot more. You can also start off with the brainstorming grid map. So when you make a grid, people know exactly what are the points that they need to focus on. Stop when you think ideas have exhausted. There is no point in, squeezing the line till it becomes bitter. Stop it when you know no more new points are emerging. And once you have collected all your ideas, evaluate them properly. The next topic that we will take up right now is mind mapping. You're all aware of maps. Maps are diagrammatic features, and maps allow you to see something visually on one page. Here is a concept called as mind mapping, which makes it easy for people to understand and remember and communicate very complex stuff. Like take for example, an entire novel can be made into a mind map of one chart. You have put in the main feature right in the center and you have drawn lines all around it in order to show the plots and the subplots. So when later you're looking at your mind map, you're able to recollect the entire book that you read. So therefore, in brief, it helps people to make recollections and even make very good presentations based on it. Mind maps will always have one main topic and it will have subtopics. Those subtopics may have sub-subtopics and those sub-subtopics may have sub-sub-subtopics. But how you join them through the lines and bring it back into the main point is what creates the entire integrity of understanding the main point of it. Mind maps are diagrammatic in nature and they show you how each idea is connected to one another. Now, what is the importance of mind maps? The first importance is that it helps you to organize ideas. It helps you to have a method of recalling, remembering what you have read in the past. It helps you to communicate better because the point is right there and you can build up on it. It solves problems very effortlessly. It allows you to brainstorm and build up new ideas. It has been seen that it increases productivity at least by 20%. It sees important issues and understands what are the not so important issues. It helps you to make a decision much better and it allows you to also make very compelling and attractive presentations based on the mind map. The mind map actually organizes the ideas exactly as the brain, as the human brain organizes it. It creates powerful images that the brain can recollect and bring it out once again. We all know that our brain has two halves. The left side has a linear way of thinking and the right side has a holistic way of thinking. A mind map helps you to make an impression upon both the halves and therefore the memory is much stronger and it is helpful for making better presentations and maybe even helping you to go ahead in life much better with the ideas always remaining in your mind. Now, what are the different types of mind maps? We have spidergrams and we have what is called as a bubble diagram. Spidergrams, as we all understand, a spider has a central fat body and it has legs on all sides. So the image is very clear. Similarly, bubblegram also, the image is clear. You have bubbles. So you have one main big bubble, which is the main idea, and then you have small ideas, small bubbles all around. So therefore, the bubble idea is also a very bubble way, and these bubbles are once again connected through lines. So you know who is connected to what, in which way, and therefore the story that emerges is perfect. All your mind maps must answer all the traditional cardinal questions of what, where, why, who, when, and where. And of course, it also answers how. It helps you to understand the textbook based stuff. Like take for example a student who is studying a textbook will easily be able to relate to a mind diagram he or she may have made out of the textbook. Later he doesn't have to turn the pages of the book. It comes to him through the mind map that he's made. It allows him to understand which are the focus areas and therefore understand better. To the right audience, a mind map is a very good way of sharing complex information. Why I say right audience is the audience has to be in sync with you. You cannot be using a mind map to explain things to illiterate people in the rural areas. But people who understand your concept will be able to very well understand your concept much better through a mind map. Now the uses of mind maps, where are they used? For personally. Everybody uses a mind map personally in order to help their memory. It helps you to shorten up books and make small little carryable notes in the form of mind maps. It is used in businesses, for business analysis, for visual thinking, and they can be used while planning an event. The HR division uses it for planning, and the business organization uses it for strategic planning, prioritizing issues, goal setting, etc. A mind map enhances creativity. Quite naturally, because it is diagrammatic, you can really use your creative powers to the best when you are creating a mind map. Mind maps are used in formal education as well, because they help you to manage your information, which is vast, very well. It is used for learning, for future reference, for document management, for organizing web links, and it is also a very good file organizer. It helps you to make decisions, it helps in event plannings and all kinds of project management. Now we come to chunking. Chunking, as the word itself says, let me write it on the board first. Chunking is anything that the eye can see and see at one go. So it is creating a chunk of information that forms the basis and then adding the chunks together in order to make fuller meaning. It was first developed in the year 1950 by a Harvard philosopher of the name George A. Miller. According to him, the mind is not able to remember more than 7 things at a go. So therefore, he would break up the 7 things and bring it together in order to create a chunk. In order to create meaning out of the small chunks. Learning specialists have often used the example of phone numbers and how people remember it for explaining a chunking theory. Take for example, when you think of a telephone number, the first thing you do is you break it up. And you break it up into maybe 3 parts. Nowadays our cell numbers are of 10 digits. So the first one will be 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you have the numbers in this order and it becomes very easy to remember. So if it is 9, 8, 2, 1, 5, 703, 804. Memory becomes extremely easy. It is breaking down of information into small chunks and then grouping them together to give you the entire meaning. What are the uses of this chunking principle? They are used a lot by technical writers, by procedure writers, by presenters, by public speakers, because they need chunks of words in order to create meaning out of what they are saying. The next thing that you need to know for making a good presentation is the use of templates and graphics. We are all aware of the fact that visual communication is very strong. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Therefore, it becomes very, very important for people to be using good templates and good graphics in order to bring their ideas together. Any slide naturally should never be unnecessarily complicated. It should be as simple as possible so that people are able to understand it. Don't be in a position just because your screen looks empty to fill it up with logos and pictures and diagrams. Even an empty picture has, with only the words, has a lot of power to enter into the minds of the people seeing it. Always use your slide one after another very judiciously with chronological pattern and into the structuring. Then you need to remember that what you are doing in the form of graphics is actually only assimilating meaning. So therefore, do not deviate from the meaning by unnecessary decorations which can take the meaning completely away. Graphics should be used only to help you understand better, not to distract you from what is happening. Look for interesting photographs. Use these photographs judiciously. Use high quality graphics. Do not go for low resolution. Sometimes you will like a picture but it is in low resolution and then you try to expand it. It will only create a mess on your slideshow by making it look very ugly. Avoid using the PowerPoint clip and other cartoonish kind of elements in your presentations because it will deviate the audience from understanding you and your seriousness. Always be consistent about your visuals. Do not use flamboyance one place and then become very dull. Use it in a way which is very consistent. You can create your own background templates to suit your purpose. Sometimes templates are already created by organizations and you only have to borrow it from there and use your own words to fill it up. Always ask yourself, how much detail really do I need to put on the slideshow? Because the slideshow should be an indicator to what the person is speaking. All what he is speaking need not be there. A hint or a clue is enough to trigger more information. You can have different kinds of illustrations in the form of pie charts. You all may be aware pie charts are circular in nature. Then you can have vertical bar graphs. Then you can have horizontal bar graphs and you can also have line graphs. So therefore, in all these ways, statistics can be presented best through them. You can be having tables also, which is numerically the best way to make suggestions to people who are looking at your presentation. Now, what else is there? Visual communication. Let's see. Whatever you are presenting through graphics is visual. So what are the things that are important in visual? Color. Now don't make it look multicolored. Use a maximum of 3 to 4 colors on one slide. The typography has to be very, very perfect and aligned and consistent throughout the slide. You have different types of fonts available and therefore you can choose the correct font, but see to it that you consistently use the same font throughout. Look at your layout. We have already spoken about it. Create your own layout if you think it is right. Otherwise, use the company layout, which will be very standard. How do you handle space? The look of the presentation must be aesthetically done. And therefore, handling empty spaces becomes very important. Use illustrations that enhance your slide rather than take your attention away. Use data in the correct way that people will understand. Where you need to show something by tables, show tables. Where you need to show something by a pie chart, show it. Definitely use your intelligence. Always look at it from the other point of view, that is from the audience's point of view when you are creating it. Make it very simple and that would really make the best presentation. Because finally what you are doing is trying to impress your audience. Your audience must be impressed by what they see of you. So it is very, very important for you to practice before your performance after you have created all the possible support systems for your good presentation. Please remember, there are two different types of presentation styles. One is called as the ballroom presentation style and the other is called as the conference room presentation style. Now, the ballroom presentation style is the typical kind of a PowerPoint which has a lot of colors and animation. It is usually seen in a darkened room. It is good when you are trying to make an impression on your audience, maybe trying to entertain them and persuade them through your entertainment. But a conference room style of presentation is more formal in nature and it is usually used to inform and impress people through statistics and data. Now, rehearsal before a performance is very, very important. When you rehearse, see how your posture is, which is why it is very, very good for you to always get a friend of yours to record yourself so that you are able to alter yourself accordingly later. Your posture, your gestures, your facial expressions, your voice, your pitch, your tone, all are very, very important and necessary ingredients for a good presentation. Your eye contact with the audience is very important. You create invisible bonds by your eye contact. So it becomes important for you to meet this. Then rehearse your presentation properly. Use all your personal attributes which enhance your presentation and make an impression upon your audience. You have to learn methods of overcoming nervousness. Maybe take a deep breath, drink some water before. Even during the rehearsal, you can help yourself to get out of your nervousness. Use all your visual aids that you think will help you to make your presentation better. How do you make an entry? How do you greet your audience? How do you first start off is very important in making a successful presentation. Now, you also need to know that at the closing of your presentation, you will have to handle questions. How do you handle them? Answer with a smile. Answer everybody, give everyone a chance to ask you a question. In case you do not know the answer, you can always tell them that I'll get back to you later. And you have to deal with the unexpected. There could be a sudden power failure, there could be a sudden technical glitch. Know that such things can happen. Carry things in the hard copy style so that in case the PowerPoint fails, you're still able to stand and make your presentation. So in this way, you would have made a presentation that is successful and has managed to impress your audience. With this, we complete our course of communication skills through the 5 units. All the best, students. Do well in your exam and let's hope for the best. Thank you.